The fact of the matter is, whether you've been in network marketing for years or just a few days, your family and friends have seen your opportunity and your phone is, as we call it, burnt. If you're anything like me, that's a scary thought. So the big question is, how do entrepreneurs like us, who love the network marketing profession, who no longer want to be that guy, and are tired of convincing people during uncomfortable let's get coffee meetings where they say, what's this all about? How do we market in a way that aligns us with our dream clients and expands our network of upfront and transparent professionals, allowing us to get our time back, our families back, and gain a real passive asset? People like us who value impact over income, we deserve to see our visions once and for all. Join me in this podcast where we'll uncover just how to do that. My name is Eric Sablon. Welcome to Burnt Phone Marketing. What is going on, guys? Eric Sablon here with Burnt Phone Marketing. And when you network, sometimes you find some gems. You find the people that see your vision. You find the people that actually have been where you want to go. And I always did online. And I got into this really, really good high ticket course. And he was one of the top. He wasn't even in the course. He was like one of the founders of the course. And I actually got to talk to him. We talked about funnels. We talked about strategies. And, it's been a year since we actually sit down and really chatted. But he's gone so far in the last, year and launched his own podcast. That's, I'm not even going to steal his thunder because we're going to talk a little about his story. But what I say is the circles that you're in, it's key to leverage and find the people and rub shoulders with the right people. So I'm just gonna welcome and introduce Mr. Shawn Idom to the show. Welcome, Shawn. How you doing, man?
Welcome, brother. Welcome. How are you, brother? It's good to see you.
It's been forever. Like we would go out to breakfast all the time and hang out and just chat. And
yes,
we were all in different stages. We were like building something, but man, you've done some amazing things in the last year, with COVID and stuff like that. And I know you've been really working your business, but, I just kind of want to start off. Tell us a little bit about, your journey in entrepreneurship in the last, in the last couple of years, what you've gone through and what you've done and what you're seeing inside the marketplace right now.
Yeah, man. First and foremost, thank you for having me on. It's a pleasure. Like Eric said, he's my boy. He's always been just very, very helpful, man. Anytime you need to kind of pick his brain, and anytime you need to kind of run some things by him, just definitely been, I feel like a person that's an ally. You got adversaries and then you got allies. He's definitely a person that I would put in that ally category. But like you said, I'm an entrepreneur. I run a brick and mortar business out of Anchorage, Alaska. Been here since 2003, originally in the military. Got up here and I just saw a lot of things that you can get involved with entrepreneurial. So I knew this would be a place that, I would definitely make a name for myself as an entrepreneur. Opened up my business in 2008, right when I don't know if you remember, but that was during the recession, the housing bubble, right? Mm-hmm. And very, very strange time to start a business, but God has been good. I was able to take the money that I had in savings and very young 20-something-year-old kind of start my journey as an entrepreneur officially. Before then, I did a bunch of side hustles and stuff like that, but that was my first real introduction to being an entrepreneur. And that's grown from a barber school to having professional barbers to now having barber students. So going from a barber shop into, a barber school. It's been a journey. I'm still relatively young, so I still got a lot in me. I've been doing a lot of consultation and business consulting and coaching has been what I've been doing a lot of this last probably 2 years. I consider it kind of just, giving back, so to speak. My pain is somebody else's gain. So it's been fun, man. I love entrepreneurship. I love talking about business. And, some of the things that I'm seeing is like, it's a great time to get involved with business, right? A lot of people have had a lot of security with jobs and really didn't know, when they could test things out. I think due to COVID-19 and just kind of the downturn in some of the markets, it's a better time than any to at least just go out there, give it what you got, test things out, and see how it shakes and how it is for you. And that's been a lot of the people that I've been working with, a lot of people that have been laid off and things like that. And they're using this time to actually do the things that they've always wished that they had the time for. So it's been awesome, man.
It's amazing how sometimes, I love what you said. It's amazing how sometimes, you don't, because of your comfort zone, you don't like seek out what you wanted to. You're literally stuck in that spot because you're comfortable. And then when there's a little bit of a strain, you either run away, right, or you find somebody, you find something, you find that passion that's always been kind of stuck down there. And then you basically create an entrepreneur spirit, or you create something, you start to do something different than what you were doing before. And, we're big Grant Cardone people. So as long as it's symbiotic, then you're okay. Like, you literally can create something on your own.
Correct.
And it's amazing. So I always aspire for all my coaches, my students. I want them to ring the register. I want, like, my goal for them is to literally have somebody run their Stripe account.
Wow.
Have somebody, like, that is like my first goal. Like, because if you can make it online, one transaction, the next transaction, and then the next you just need to break the ice. You just need to break the ice. And $7, $37, $27, $9.97. It doesn't matter what it is. Just let your Stripe account ring. And that's what I really push to help people with. So you're a family man. So shout out to the family man. I know you had a podcast, a segment that was all about dads and families. Man, that segment was so dynamic. Like, you could tell that, like, it literally was just, you were talking through stories and pain and struggle and wins, and it really, like, helped people, like, see who you really were. So I mean, super awesome. So tell me a little bit about that journey, how that was, and then we'll go into more business stuff.
For sure. And the segment is called Fatherhood Friday. If you don't follow me, at Shawn Idom on Instagram is like my main platform. So that came out of just a lot of stigma. A lot of minorities, a lot of, African-American fathers. There's a lot of stigma when it comes to fatherhood. They're not present, they're not there. Guys having babies and not it's kind of just leaving the mom to be a single mom. And though that was, there's some truth to that, in all backgrounds, right? White guys, black guys, we all know deadbeat dads, but I just felt like it was no balance. Father's Day would come around, and sometimes my timeline, it would just be like, it felt like instead of being a celebration, it was a time for everybody, many people, to express how their dad wasn't in their life, or shout out to their mom again, even though it's not Mom's Day, like they kind of made it about the mom. And I saw that, like that polarity, right? Like Mother's Day, it was, it's celebrated. Everybody loves their mom. Mom can't do any wrong. And rightfully so. I love my mom as well. But my father was a really big part of, me being the person that I am. And what was so funny is that I would get around other men, I run a barbershop. So I would get around so many other men, and I'm like, man, these guys are really involved with their kids. Like, I would have guys that, even if they weren't with the mom, like bringing their kids to the shop every 2 weeks, you know what I mean? Like really present, picking them up from school, doing all of the things that, a good father to do, to where I was like, all right, we gotta balance this thing out. Like, I hear what CNN is saying, I hear what the studies are talking about. But with social media, we all have the power of owning our own platform and creating and publishing our own content. And I'm more of a doer. You know what I mean? I don't sit there and just speculate and hope somebody else is going to do it or complain about. I'm like, hey, even if it's 10 people that watch my podcast, even if it's one person that watches my podcast that's able to get a different perspective, that's able to be encouraged, then I think it's all to the good. So I started that several years ago, and that's all we do. You know, we highlight fatherhood and what it means to be a father, encourage, empower, you know, and educate fathers. And it's went really well. We haven't been able to do the interviews as much, but if you go to my Instagram every single week, I put my kids and I talk about different things that I'm doing, and things that I'm experiencing as a father, reflecting on moments, celebrating my kids. So it's just a big thing to me. And we are about to get back to the interviews because I've been having a bunch of guys, just like you just said, tapping in with me. Man, I used to really enjoy the podcast, because we cover so many different angles, from adoption to, just what it means to be a dad, what it means to be a dad and be an entrepreneur, and how you balance that also. I feel like we were speaking up to a market that sometimes is not always in the best light. So shout out to the dads, man. I know you're a father, you're a proud father. You do an excellent job. So definitely, man, Fatherhood Fridays is where it's at. Yes, sir.
Yeah. And what I really like about that is like you're gleaning the light from a location that's creating positivity.
Awesome.
And that's what I really, really like about what you've done. Like, you're taking an issue and putting it through a lens of positivity versus the lens that you said, like the CNN lens, like this is the worst, this is the bad, this is all of the stuff. And the best part about that is you don't know how many people's lives you're changing. You don't know, like, what do they say? When the solution is there, you'll hear it. When you're open to hearing it, you'll receive it. Correct. And a lot of people just need that platform that you said, and someone to actually just scroll on it. And you may not know who you changed, whose life you changed.
For sure.
But just with that one segment, you changed that person's life. And, that's the power of publishing.
That's right.
The power of having a voice. That's the power of having people listen to what you're doing. I love what you said. 10 people, 7 people, 100 people, 1,000,000 people. It doesn't matter. Just as long as you're out there using that platform to create positivity. So yeah, I'm super excited. So that like, I love what you do, man. I'm a huge fan. So I'm always watching and checking on you. So let's talk business, man. Let's talk business. I know you love business. You created a barbershop. You went from barbershop to like owning the barbershop to creating a school.
Yeah.
And I've watched you as you've kind of gone through that, but I've watched you and I've seen how your shop is run so smoothly. Like it's very structured on how you do things. So like, for a new entrepreneur in the business space, what do you think like the biggest issue is? What do you think the biggest pain point or the biggest problem for them to actually go and start? Because I say B+ work changes lives. You know what I mean? What do you think their biggest problem is to launch into the online space?
I would say I'm always a big advocate of like sales. You know what I mean? Like I get with everything else, but if you're not really attracting the right type of customer, if you're not making consistent sales on a regular basis, meaning every day, it doesn't, like, we can't get into marketing, we can't get into scaling, we can't get into anything else. So I always try to tell people, like, really getting clear about who you're serving, what that audience is, speaking to them, right, authentically, whatever we call it, your Martha, like whatever it may be, you can name it anything, right? But like, who are you talking to? And understanding what those demographics look like, but even deeper than that, what are those psychographics? Like what would this person watch? What would this person wear? What slang would they talk? Like, how, if you're talking to single moms, like what could you say that would be in the experience of that? And making sure that, you're not serving everybody and that you pick out a niche. I think it's 7 billion people on this world. Like, you can find your tribe, but you have to really be intentional about doing that, and setting up mechanisms that you can have to sell. Like that's the most important thing when we talk about online, offline. If you're not making enough sales, like, and you're not being intentional about that, then your entrepreneurial venture is going to be short-lived. A lot of people say that businesses are undercapitalized, but it's really not undercapitalization at all. It's the lack of sales. Like when it really comes down to a grassroots level, It's the lack of sales. So how can we make consistent sales to be able to get into all the other stuff when we can hire people, when we can duplicate our sales, when we can buy systems that are better? So I think a lot of people kind of skip that order. They go into marketing and they go into a lot of these other things that are more fun and more creative. But ultimately, you got to get your sales process. Your client acquisition process is like the first and foremost and the thing that you really need to beat your head on. Because if you really can't nail that, then all the other parts, it doesn't even make sense to go forward with the business many times. And many times people skip that part and they get into other things. And it's like, okay, how do we attract? What are our platforms? How do we, are we going to do email marketing? Are we going to do, social media ads? Like, what is the way that we're going to be consistently able to get our message in front of the people that could potentially be our buyers, and then from there convert enough of those sales to say that this is a viable product. So the quickest way that you can get to making a minimum viable product, which is just like the meat and potatoes or whatever you're doing, test it in the market, see if people are reacting to it, the better, because you got to get that sales thing down. Because I see a lot of people dump money into things that like just didn't work out for them. And if they just took their time with really making sure that they had a product market fit, then I think that they could have, very early on seen if they needed to pivot without, dumping just so much of an investment into it.
Yeah. And that's what we train a lot in our course. Like we train like literally how to define your avatar and then create your core offer. Like literally when you create a core offer, like what everything is surrounding, then it's so much easier because you always have a North Star. This is my core offer. Right. This is my core offer. This is my core offer. Like your core offer, get butts in the seats of the barbershop. Get butts in the seats of the barbershop. Get butts in the seats of the barbershop. That's the core offer. Like that's what you speak. And that's the best part about having one core offer.
Yeah.
And I share that with everybody because it's like, well, I can do this and I can do that and I can do this and I can do that. I did that for years. And I was scrambling. I found one core offer for $37. And we just broke $140,000 in revenue over the last 9 months.
Congrats, man. That's awesome.
One core offer. And that's the importance. So tell us a little bit about the like you have a coaching program, and I'm super excited. It's called the Side Hustlers Academy Group. Tell us a little bit about what that is and who that serve.
For sure, man. Side Hustlers Academy is a weekly group coaching, right? It's a community. But I want to clear up the word side hustle because a lot of people think that they're not a side hustler, and we gonna dumb it down all the way. So a side hustle to me is anything that has not hit 100K in sales yet. Why I say the 100K is because I believe it's not a real viable product that you need to spend time scaling if it hasn't got to that. So sometimes people scale too fast. And I know you can agree with this, Eric. Sometimes people try to start scaling, hiring, doing all of this, buying all kind of inventory and equipment. And it's like, we're not at that phase yet. Let's really bunker down, really get our systems tight, and really see if that we can make enough sales to where it makes sense. What am I saying makes sense? That the market has shown us that they value this enough for you to scale it. Not you and your heart and your passion, all of that's good. But ultimately, if there's not, again, like I was telling you, a product market fit, like you can have all the heart and ambition and smarts that you want to have. But if the market don't want it, they don't want it. So so really clearing up that first off. So many of us most businesses in the United States, only 6% of them actually get over the 6-figure revenue. So it's a big market. So a lot of people, they feel like they're a full-time entrepreneur and that I'm not talking to them. I'm actually talking to you. If you have not hit that 100K mark, if you're still working more in the business than on the business, to me, you're still a side hustler. So, and it's no shame. Like, we're not shaming it. We just want people to start making that transition, having systems, goals, objectives to where they can actually make that happen. So we meet every single Monday for 2 to sometimes 3 hours, just depend on how many questions and just, how engaged the class is that day. And we're breaking it down all the way. And I'm challenging guys and I'm holding them accountable. Because entrepreneurship, just a second, I'm sorry. Entrepreneurship changed my life. You know what I mean? It absolutely I tell people that I believe that entrepreneurship is more spiritual than it is even like, anything else. Like the man that I am, the tough skin that I have, the type of adversity that I had to experience, as by and large been because of entrepreneurship and stepping out of my comfort zone and wanted to really be something greater. So what it's done for me, I'm very passionate about it. And I believe that, entrepreneurship is the greatest classroom when you start talking about personal development. You're going to do stuff on the entrepreneurial front that if you were just working a job or you were just, just stuck to your own vices that you would never do. So we're really challenging these guys, man, to level up their businesses. But we're not just saying, hey, you got a side hustle, you don't know what you're doing, you're silly, like we're literally holding their hand and walking them through this process. And I consider myself being that big brother, right? To people, even if they're older than me, right? Big brother that I wish that I had. I had a lot of lack of mentorship. I live in Alaska, so the conferences don't come out here, like it's really off the grid. You got to really want it in order to really make it up here, because we're so disconnected from many of the things that just happen every weekend in the lower 48. So you look behind me, it's been a lot of investment of, books and courses and relationships that have allowed me to be who I am. So, I bring my friends on, I do all kind of different things to really, try to level the playing field with, if you really want it, there are resources and there are people and there are networks that you can tap into that, what took me maybe 15 years to be able to do can take you 3, can take you 2, can take you 5. So I'm super passionate about it. As a barber instructor, I've always kind of been in that lane anyway. Like I always have pushed a very entrepreneurial type of mindset. Even if you're not going to own your own business, an entrepreneurial mindset to me is the innovative mindset. It's the solution oriented mindset. So we've been doing this for the last 10 years. We just finally took it online to really, just really try to impact the world and not just do it such at a local basis. So that's the Side Hustler Academy, man. And it's going great, man. I got some great students in the class and they're building their businesses, and I'm just a happy teacher, man.
Yeah, 100%. It's a great feeling to like have people in your classrooms, because like coaching has changed my life, but mentorship and being able to take some people that really want to learn, that have that burning desire. It's amazing when you sell something and they have that burning desire to change where they were, and they're relying on you to help them to get where they need to be. It's like, it's not even a weight. It's an amazing, like coaching is an amazing feeling. And
it is.
Guys, I teach in our class, we always talk about how we want you to be coaches inside whatever you're doing. You want to be able to coach, you want to be able to inspire, you want to be able to take people to the next level. And like Shawn's been doing it for a long time, and you can see it. And what's really cool about your industry is everyone that's a barber is their own entrepreneur.
Yeah.
That's the way I see it, because a lot of times they just rent the chair.
Yeah.
They're running their own business.
Yeah.
Like you are running your own business. Like you are an entrepreneur. So that's amazing. So super excited, man. I love to hop in on a class and check it out. Super excited about that. So that is the Side Hustle Academy. So you're publishing now. We talked about that. What do you see is the biggest, like with COVID that just happened? So we're coming out of, hopefully we're coming out of it into a position, and if you're listening to this in 2020, there was something called COVID that happened, and it shut down a lot of businesses. And in fact, it really hit the service industry very hard.
Correct.
So what do you see? What do you see that the service industry is doing right now? What are you suggesting? What are you seeing that the service industry is doing right now to bring back what they what lost over the last 12 months?
I just what I believe is, of course, the people will eventually come back and they'll get the services that they always did. But what I hope and I pray is that people have paid attention to what has transpired over the last year. I mean, it's almost exactly a year now. It is actually that they told us that we had to shut down our businesses and We had to, be able to bunker down, right, for six weeks. Historic time, like that was unprecedented. Like I've never heard of that happening. And so many businesses have still been affected by those mandatory shutdowns. What I pray and hope is that people kind of wisen up to how real it can get, so to speak, and that they never go back to just thinking one way, that they never just leverage themselves to only being a brick and mortar. And if you're not taking clients in and they're not coming into the shop, that you and your family's livelihood are jeopardized. That was the dilemma for most of us. I think so many people have the blueprint of how to do coaching or sell products online or write, like whatever it is, you need to get this information out of your head, let somebody help you document it to where you have some other form of revenue besides standing behind a chair, besides serving people, as far as coming into the shops. What I saw is that it was almost scary because we were in that dilemma. I felt like, not that I feel like, I saw people basically risking their health, like, right, because they felt like they had to do that in order to be able to take care of their family, which I totally understand. And this is not to throw shade on any of us, but I literally saw people doing house cuts in the middle of a pandemic and in the middle of not really knowing about what COVID was or what it wasn't, but they just felt like they had to keep making way. And how dangerous is that? What if it was something that's worse than COVID, God forbid, right? What if it's something like, if you do not leverage this incident to actually fail forward and actually produce something that it doesn't take, your work and your effort, and you don't think about that and consider it, with so many people showing you that there's not a niche in the world that can't be digitalized, right? I believe people are missing the whole point. So even though this was very traumatic for my business, right? Like I definitely went through some stuff. Like you said, the service industry probably got beat up the worst. But with that being said, I also did a lot as far as testing and experimenting with stuff that I know that I wouldn't have done. I wouldn't have had the time, or I wouldn't have made the time, or the sense of urgency wouldn't have been there. That I really believe 2020 was a historic year for me on the positive front. That's what I'm hoping the most, Eric, is that people realize just how real it can get, and to just precaution and make sure that you leverage all of these different platforms and leverage this digital age, and that you literally can have customers all over the world if you really tap in the right way. Or you can be the person that's just got the old mindset, wanted to be a certain type of way, and this happens 2 years from now, and you're in such a worse dilemma because you never really adjusted to the time. Social media is not going anywhere. The online platforms are not going anywhere. People wanting courses and information organized in a structured type of way. It's not going anywhere. So with that being said, how are you getting yourself out there to promote yourself and to let people know that you have these other products and services? Is like, I'm just waving the flag and really trying to campaign for all my service providers, because I understand you love what you do. You enjoy being with the clients, but due to these circumstances, you have seen that like you cannot think like that. It's not even a thing to where I'm just saying something like, that, you dipped into your savings, that you didn't have income for a month, that you had to tap into unemployment and all these other things. So now that like we kind of see how it could be, I would just pray that people are just wiser, including myself, going forward, to realize, even though this is an industry we love our clients, we love, the brick and mortar. I don't think barbershops are going anywhere. I don't think spas are going anywhere, but we just have to be more equipped to deal with an emergency or a pandemic or a shutdown situation in the future, so that so many barbershops, like it's been so many people that have went out of business, Eric. Like it's just, I consider myself blessed and fortunate, but now that it's happened, we're definitely going to always have a contingency plan to make sure that we can fall forward and learn from what this pandemic has shown us.
Yeah, 100%. Because I love exactly what you said. It's like, if we're not learning what's going on, if we're not paying attention to what's going on, and we just kind of sit back and say, well, I'm glad that's over. We're in for something
Yeah.
There's gonna be another right hook coming up.
Correct.
So adapt and overcome. Like you got to look at some opportunity that you can do, some expertise that you can do, some coaching, something that you can do to position you in a different manner than just the 9-to-5 employee. So one thing that I'd say is, hey, quick question. What do you tell a guy that is superb in his industry?
Mm-hmm.
He's one of the best in the industry, but he's like, I don't know where to start to create a coaching program. I don't know where to start to go online. I don't know what to do this. What do you tell that guy that says, you know what, you are the ace in the hole. You're just not, you're so closed-minded right now that you're not marketing to many.
Yeah.
Like, what do you talk to that? What do you say to that guy? Because I know you teach.
Yeah.
And you're a teacher, so that's why I'm asking. Like, what do you say to that guy?
For sure. This is how I equate it, man. I think you always got to go back to your why. Like, why do we do things? And like, why was it important? And why do you feel? Because truth be told, most barbers have a teaching element to them anyway. If it's not the formal, hey, I'm a licensed instructor from the state. Like, forget all that. Forget all the paperwork. Like, you literally see a guy in your shop. He's a new guy. He's struggling. And we know that if he keeps struggling, it's going to be a black eye on the whole shop. Let me take him under my wing. Let me start showing him little things, staying after the shop, maybe coming in beforehand, and just kind of just showing the guy, hey, he sits over my shoulders and sees some of my techniques, some of the clippers that I'm using, some of the shortcuts, some of the hacks. So is it really that we don't know how to do these things? Or are we so stubborn? And have we gotten to the place where, it's almost this callous that's on our mind as far as like, this is the only way? You know what I mean? Like to me, Eric, it's not like you're doing these things anyway. It just comes to a place, okay, like how do I learn the new skill set? Because it is a new skill set. Who do I get around? What type of networks do I need to leverage? The same way that you got good at cutting hair or whatever you're proficient at, whatever service base that you have, is the same way that you can get good at this technology. It's actually easier. It's actually going to take you a shorter amount of time. So if you have any following, if you have people that are liking your pictures all over it's just really about monetizing that following. I believe that no matter what you do, you're always having to go through these beta versions anyway. So let your guys know as you're bringing them on, like, hey man, I'm new to this. Like, people appreciate that honesty. Hey man, this is my first couple of classes. And I think as long as you're honest and you're upfront with people, as long as you have the mind to continue to want to evolve, continue to learn, that is bare minimum stuff at this point, Eric. Like, I mean, that's just how I feel about it. Like, those days of you just getting one job, one skill set, net riding for the next 30 to 40 years, this thing is moving too fast. Like, there are things like last year that just are not even a thing anymore. Right. Like even like Zooms, from what they were conventionally used for, and what they're used for now is just like, I'm on a Zoom call literally every single day. Like, I was never on Zoom like that. But that's where we're at with this. So, I mean, I want to encourage them, but more than anything, I hope that they would encourage themselves and just realize that if I really want to be an asset, if I really want to have the impact that I want to have on people's lives, because that's what it's about for most service providers, that impact, that relationship, that relational equity that we have with our clients. And you'll talk to your barber about things that you might not even talk to your girlfriend about. Right. So it's such an awesome relationship based type of business. How can we impact more lives is what I would be asking. How can I amplify relationships? How can I get, like you said, not one-to-one, but one-to-many? Like, what platforms allow me to use that? And many times, truth be told, it's not as hard as what people think it is. So more than anything, it's the mental shift of, okay, these are the times. This is what it meant. This is what it used to mean to be a barber or to be an instructor or be an educator. And this is what it's looking now. And what I really want people to realize is that opportunities are bananas. Like, I'll give you a quick story. Paul Mitchell, some of the leads in Paul Mitchell said that before COVID-19, they basically had all of these in-shop type of classes. So they would go to your state, your city, and they would basically have a day of training inside of your facility. And it went well. You know, they charged people a considerable amount for that, and they were doing well. They said due to COVID, they had to stop doing that. And now what they're able to do and how many people they're able to impact has exponentially been greater. Think about this. The travel time they used to literally have to get on a plane, touch down in a place, right? Do the class, then get on a plane or get in a car, go to the next. So it just wasn't a real scalable model. So even their heart might be like, we want to teach everybody in the world the Paul Mitchell universal ways, right? They couldn't even do it basically because of the physicality of that. You can't be everywhere at one place, or can you? Right? Because now we have these digital platforms that actually allow you to almost be omnipresent if you're open to it. So as much as the new vanguard is kind of like dying down and the old world is kind of dying down, there's also this tremendous opportunity that you can literally be doing the same thing. I'm teaching the same way that I've always taught: entrepreneurial systems, processes. This is how you got to do. This is how you sell. This is how you promote yourself on social. But now I'm not just confined to 10 students in a barbershop. Not, you're right. Like the church, like what I always tell people, I said the church aren't the four walls. The church is all of this, right? Like the church is actually outside the physical location. So how do we bring the church? And the church can be whatever it is for you, whatever your thing is. Like, how can you bring that to more people? And I really want us to be open-minded. One of the things that I deal with a lot of, so I'm a part of a couple of coaching programs. So the ABS Tribe is also another thing that I'm a part of. And so these calls are upwards of 50 to 100 people at one time. And a lot of people, they speak death over themselves and over their situations. And they say phrases like that. And if this is you, it's cool, but I just really want you to rework your mind after what I'm saying. I'm not a technology person. This social media stuff ain't for me. Like I just never really liked computers. And like, you got to realize that the world is moving, whether we want to or not. The world is moving, and either you're going to adapt and change and overcome, or you're literally like, I'm not playing with you. Like literally, you are going to get passed over. You will not be an asset. Your skill sets will not be valuable to the market. And again, like, you know, like, where do you go with that? So like, it's just, to me, what COVID-19 has shown us is just like, you have to be pliable, you have to be adaptable, you have to have your head on a swivel, on a pivot, because of those days, the old world is gone. Even as we open back up, Eric, we're opening up to something that we don't even know what it looks like. We don't even know how, like even from a business standpoint, it doesn't even make sense to do business the way we were doing business after we know what we know. Right? Does it make sense for me to have everybody in there inside of a big old office space where we got to rent and we got to do that, when these people are literally, they have been working at home for the last year and a half, almost 2 years, happy, good, productive, low overhead? It just doesn't even make sense to bring them back to the office. You can do that if you want to, but just even from an X's and O's, the numbers don't speak to us ever going back to how things were before. So with that being said, like, yeah, people will get vaccinated, whatever, numbers will go down. But just because of the climate, I just believe that, you know, you just got to be open to what's going on, and continually to want to adapt and change, and realize that change doesn't always mean a negative thing. Change doesn't always mean some just bad consequence. Change could also be like the change that allows you to have a life that you've never dreamed of, if you would just be open to all the opportunities that are out there.
100%, man. You hit the nail right on the head. Like, adapting and overcoming and change. And yeah. I like what you said about how, you know, people are, even when we go back, even when we come back, it's not going to be the same. I like what you said about, like, people are so proficient, and so, like, there's no water cooler anymore. You know what I mean? There's no sitting by the water cooler. You plug in for work, you hit Zoom, you hit Teams, you hit whatever, and you're like focused. Yeah. Like, I think like in the next year, I think anyone that figures out how to create digital time management and focus structures, their coaching business, their whatever they're selling is gonna expand and blow up. Because we talk about this all the time. SAMs, skills are cheap. You can find them on the internet. You can find them wherever you want to. Accountability and mentorship is what people pay for, and that's where people get results. Accountability and mentorship is where people get results and get change. So my last question, I asked this a lot. I paused it for a while, but I'm back to it.
Okay.
So you're at the biggest event. There's 100,000 people in the stage. Like, imagine like when we were at together when we were at 10X. Con. We were at 10X. So there's 100,000 people in that stadium. It's Sunday afternoon. You're the Sunday speaker. You know exactly what that means. You are the reason why people came to show up. You are the keynote. You get done with your talk. You get done with your speech. 100,000 people are standing up, turning around. They see the banner with your name on it, your face, everything as they're walking out the door. What's the one phrase you want them to remember you by?
It's the phrase that I always say, live your passion. You just might inspire others to live theirs. Like I really believe that people need to spend more time focused on the things that align with their value system. Life and time is the only real currency, bro. And so many people spend time doing work, being a part of things that they just have no really intrinsic value. Like they don't value anything outside of just what the paycheck is. And I'm not saying that you need to go broke, do it in a logical way where you're saying just quit whatever you're doing. But, I've been doing things for the last 15 years that don't even feel like work, bro. I'm in my office on a Sunday. Let you guys know, like, and it's no big, it's no big deal. It's no drain. It's no me looking up at the clock. Sometimes I forget the clock and I kind of lose time, if anything. So what that has done for me, the level of like non-existence as far as stress, anxiety, those type of things, getting to work with people that I believe in, and I wouldn't trade it for the world. So I want everybody to get some type of glimpse of like, hey, I'm passionate about this. This is the stuff that I will be working on, even if it was no such thing as a monetary system. If there was no dollars, I would be in my garage working on this, people. If it was no such thing as, any type of money, man, I would be teaching people. I would be putting people on game. I would be helping others. So to be able to get compensated monetarily for it, it just makes sense. So I think a lot of times people just skip that part. And it's one of the biggest things. If you are in the Western hemisphere, you live in United States, you're going to spend a significant part of your time actually, working. And I think it's really, bananas that we don't think about, like, what is the real work? What is the why? What is the impact that I want to have on people? And when you can match impact and really be in tune with it, then the income is already coming. It's always coming. It's like you think about the people that are having tremendous impact on this planet. Those are the people that are earning tremendous income. So like, a lot of times we get that twisted and we're just searching for income and we're just looking for the next thing that might just, give us a couple more zeros. And I just feel like that's not really living. That's not true happiness. True happiness is doing work and being a part of things that you really believe in. And, you're able to express yourself to that extent. So that's what I would say, man, if that answers your question, brother.
That totally answers my question. So yeah, totally answer my question. And, impact over income, we talk about that all the time. Like, it's important. And if you're serving somebody and you're serving, service to many leads to greatness.
That's right.
That's in the good book. So I'm just saying, like, if you're serving more people, if you're thinking, you know what, I'm good, maybe just a little bit of a shift and open up the church, like Shawn talked about, open up a bigger church, open up something a little bit bigger. And the more people you serve, the better your life's going to be. Leave a positive mark wherever you go. And Shawn, thank you so much for this interview. I'm super excited. I appreciate you guys. And always, like always, make sure you listen to the full outro. We're going to give something away at the end. So make sure you listen to the full outro. And I'll catch you guys on the next episode of Burnt Phone Marketing Radio. Thanks, guys. Thank you so much for your listenership and your continued support of Burnt Phone Marketing Radio. This is Eric Sablon. And as a bonus to you, I wanted to give you guys a free
strategy session with me, all you have to do is go to www.burnphonemarketing.com/book a call, and we will set up a strategy session to help you get unstuck. So that's www.burnphonemarketing.com/book a call.